Hello and welcome to the Business Spotlight series. I'm your host Devi Malvika, and joining me today is the wonderful Tom Llewellyn, the Managing Director at Coexlion. Coexlion is an engineering consultancy specializing in two-wheelers and electric vehicles, and I understand that you support your clients globally. So wonderful to have you on our Business Spotlight series, Tom. It's an absolute pleasure. So why don't you kick us kick us off by telling us a little bit more about Coexlion and how it all began?
Okay, thank you, Devi. So we founded the company back in 2021 with myself based here in the UK, but also my partners, Kalyan and Amulia, based in India, and ably supported by my wife, Jennifer, here in the UK as well. So the four of us were looking to offer a unique service that we felt didn't really exist in the world at the moment, which was really focusing on the two-wheeler and the EV space for engineering consultancy. There are fantastic engineering consultancy companies that exist in India, big companies, Tata Technologies, HCL, Hinduja Tech, etc. But we felt that they were looking at the big picture, engineering in general, not specializing in two-wheelers, which, having spent over 20 years working in that industry, had a unique set of challenges: very high volume, lower product costs, and not so much investment available for tooling, but still high set of customer requirements for performance, etc. So we felt that there was an opportunity in the market to have a consultancy that specialized in that, and in EV two-wheelers especially is a global growth area as everyone looks for clean personal transportation. So it was that really that made us want to do that. Having spent my career in working for two-wheeler companies both in the UK and in India, we had a lot of experience in that area, and maybe felt that we sometimes didn't get a chance to put some of our ideas into practice. So I think it was maybe born a little bit out of frustration, where we felt, well, hey, if we were able to do this for ourselves, then maybe we could work on some of these innovations with a little bit more of a free hand.
Wow, that's wonderful. I think listening to you, what I've been able to understand is that you found a niche. And I can see the passion coming through from just a few, couple of minutes of what you just said. I can see that passion coming through. So if I were to rephrase, I would say more than frustration, you just had to put your passion out there. And I'm really liking where this is going. So that's such a wonderful start, and really love the idea that you decided to focus on a niche category and then take that forward, other than all the generalized, other things in engineering. So that's wonderful. And from what I understand, this has been growing really well, because if I'm not wrong, you started in 2021. So what would you attribute your growth to?
I think we've relied very heavily on our professional network. So myself and my business partner, Kalyan, have both always worked within the two-wheeler industry. And actually, globally, it's quite a small community of engineers working in this specialist segment, and we find that a lot of our ex-colleagues have gone to different companies around the world, so a global reach from USA, Southeast Asia, as well as across India, UK and Europe. And I think what has allowed us to get our brand known quite quickly is drawing on that professional network that we didn't intentionally build up over those years, but has actually come to be really useful for us as we've looked to go global with our business and try and find clients out there in the industry.
Wonderful. So it is your global networking which has really helped you in this manner to grow.
Yeah, I think that's helped us with the reach, and then I think, as you said, I think we're quite passionate about what we do, and so I think once we have those early conversations, I think people can see that we are, we're not just in it as a company to extract income from a client. We're really motivated and excited to make really great products. So I think the network has helped us reach out to get that message to as many people as possible, and I think then yeah, hopefully turning that passion into great engineering solutions is what then makes people want to continue to work with us.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you've been growing so quickly, then it's definitely not just about the reach, but also the value that you're able to provide, which is then
Yeah.
again ignited by a lot of passion. So wonderful. So thinking of all the growth that you've come across, I'm also certain that you would have faced a lot of challenges in your journey. So what, according to you, is a current challenge that is being faced by Coexlion?
I think right now our biggest pain point is recruitment, trying to keep pace with the growth for the business. We're having to bring on lots of new talent, and it's a very competitive marketplace for engineers, especially in the field of electric vehicles, electrical engineers, etc. So it's a double-edged sword for us, because whereas client companies are struggling to bring in the right resource there, but the more interest we get, the more staff we need to bring on board, and it's takes a long time to find the right people that can offer a good solution. So people are often looking for outsourced programs to start within sort of a month of agreement, but typically the recruitment funnel is about 6 months to find the good engineer. So we're constantly chasing our tail to try and keep up and get that team, but without diluting the talent that we've got, just accepting the available resource. We've got to maintain the engineering quality that we have within the team. So right now, that's the biggest challenge. I think starting out, the challenge has been, when the team was smaller, is maintaining a steady income. So it's kind of feast or famine. It doesn't seem that the work dovetails nicely with one job leading into another. It either comes all at once, or there was gaps in between. So trying to manage those peaks and troughs is the challenge. But as the team gets bigger, we become more resilient to those fluctuations, which is helping now.
Absolutely. And I also think when it comes to engineering, I think a lot of the practical knowledge is really important. So probably when you're hiring people, will also be important the experience that they've had, and you will have to really look out for good engineers to bring out the value that you want to put into your products.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, actually. So when we are recruiting, we're obviously looking for people with a good academic record, but that's not just enough on its own. We're really looking for people that have that level of technical understanding, but know how to apply it. So they have worked on vehicles, or maybe they're a motorcycle enthusiast and rides at the weekend, so they understand how the product works. Maybe really into motorsport, really getting into the technical aspects of Formula One, understanding how those vehicles work. And we really like, especially fresh graduates who've done competitions like Formula Barrett or Formula Student in the UK, because they've had to learn all that theory, learn how to design something, but then also convert that from a CAD screen into a physical product that works, and that they actually are confident enough in to go and sit in and drive. And I think that's the connection of that academic ability with that sort of hands-on can-do attitude, I think, is really important. So we're particularly keen on those competitions, hence why we sponsor the Formula Barrett competition in India.
Oh, nice, wonderful. And I'm also thinking, with all the recruitment that is probably a current challenge, I was thinking, how have you been able to balance your personal life with the demands of running Coexlion? Has that been a challenge, or was it easy peasy?
It's definitely been a challenge, but as I mentioned, one of the founding partners of the business is my wife, and it's really great to have her on board, because although we're both spending over 12 hours a day working to get the business up the ground, we're still at least spending time together, so we don't have that additional pressure of having missing out on family time at home. We just spend our family time together in the office. But it is tough, the long hours, and I think especially as you're growing the team, it's you don't have that depth where you feel you can step back to take, say, like a week's holiday, because you're conscious that you're equally overloading the other founding partners who are equally as busy as for you. So if you take time out, you know that it's loading them up more. But I think it's important then to work together as a team and kind of have that time. I think it would have been really much harder to have done it alone without having that kind of support network within it. But it definitely has been tough. I think, and I've said this actually amongst ourselves, it's not, the long hours don't really bother me because the work's interesting and it's exciting. But it's just hard to maintain that. You just end up feeling quite tired and fatigued, and you notice your own performance goes down if you don't take time to sort of have a break and a reset. Even if it's like an afternoon out just to go for a walk or whatever, and just not think about the pile of emails or the work that's getting held up. So yeah, it's tough, but but yeah, enjoyable.
So what I'm hearing, so what I'm hearing, Tom, is yes, when you're doing something that you're really passionate about, it doesn't feel like work. But that being said, when you put so many hours into something, it's probably not the most sustainable idea to do that. Is that it?
Yeah, I think you, as much as you'd like to say, well, I really want to get this work done because it's interesting, you've got a deadline, so you maybe want to stay up till sort of midnight working. And then because we're global, so we've got clients in the USA and we've also got staff in India, so you may push it and stay up till midnight doing something one night, but then the next morning you've got a meeting at 6 a.m. So you have to be up at 5 to prepare for it. And then if you do that on paper, you can fit everything into your schedule and try and do that for a week. But by the time you've done that for 3 days, on the fourth day, you're kind of turning up to the meetings, but you're kind of a little bit switched off, like you're
switched off.
Yeah, not as sharp as you'd want to be.
Understood. Interesting. So then let me bring you to one of my last questions before we wrap up this interview. If you were to begin from square one at Coexlion, what do you think you would have done differently?
Yeah, I'm quite happy with how things have gone. So it takes a bit of a thought, because I'm happy with where we are now. So I don't think I would have done too much differently. But I think one thing we're probably guilty of, especially in the first sort of 12 months or so of doing the company, is being so excited to have that freedom, first time not being employed, 50 different ideas in our head of what we want to do, is perhaps being a little bit starburst and sort of running in one direction, saying let's do this, and then not really following it through and seeing another opportunity, oh let's do that. And whilst some of those things that we ran around and did in those first few months have laid good foundations for things we've come back to, I think that was quite hard for the team we were working with to understand what the direction was and what we wanted to do. So I think that's what I would have done differently, is been perhaps a little bit clearer, more structured with like strategic direction, because I think it's easier then for the team to understand, okay, what are we aiming for? What are we trying to do? Because if you try and do everything all at once, they don't know, and if you chop and change too much, they start to question what are we really trying to do here.
Right. No, that's actually a really wonderful and important share, I think, because we need to ensure that the mission, vision, and all our goals are aligned throughout the team. So initially, when we have so many ideas, we might go in all different directions, and then, like you said, the team will also get confused.
And I think, in our case, I think the mission and vision were quite clear, but it was almost, we could see 50 different paths to get there, and we perhaps should have spent some time, the founders, evaluating which path to follow, rather than sort of jumping in, getting excited and try and push forward on many fronts. And now ultimately, a lot of these things we sort of explored a little bit and then found a better path, or we've come back to something that was promising. But I think that was quite disruptive for the people around us who are on this journey as well, to really say, like, well, you told us for 1 month this is what we're going to do, and I've dedicated time and I've done this, and we're saying, yeah, it's really great what you've done, and this has unlocked something in a new direction which we hadn't thought of, so we're going to go and do this. And I think it can seem a little bit chaotic. As I say, I'm happy with where we've ended up, but I think we perhaps could have done we could have had it in a smoother way.
No, I mean, I think, hey, that's what learning is all about. If we wouldn't have these situations, then we would never learn from them. So
Yeah,
I think one of
and
the
I also
reasons
think,
why
yeah,
probably now you're a lot more structured in what you're doing because of this particular happening. So yeah,
yeah.
let's just say that happened for the good.
Yeah, and I think there's a real
Hmm.
balance there, because it's
Hmm.
definitely a strength for a company to be dynamic, be able to
Hmm.
pivot quickly, see opportunities, and
Correct.
to maximize them. So I think we never want to be too structured and stayed, and just walk one path because that's what we decided, even if it becomes not the ideal thing. Um,
Hmm.
but I think there's a balance. I think you can, if you're pivoting too often, then you start losing the trust of the people working with you, saying, "Well, okay, this is this week's priority. What's going to happen next week?" kind of thing. So we need to, we need to balance that. I hope we've got the balance right now, as we've got a little bit more established.
Right. So it was wonderful to get to know about your journey, Tom, because right there for each and every question, there was one learning. I'm pretty sure that all of our viewers themselves, they have a lot of key takeaways from this, understanding from your journey and what you could have done better and what you've been going through. And I'm sure that we are seeking inspiration from your journey. So thank you so much for taking the time out to do this interview with us. We really value it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.